Hold still, the barefoot girl whispered, her hand trembling as she reached toward the boy's ear. Wait, what are you doing? He asked, panic flashing in his blue eyes. Trust me, she said. Something's moving. The courtyard of Stratton Dynamics glimmered under the afternoon sun. Glass walls, chrome statues, and fountains tall enough to kiss the sky. Employees in sharp suits froze mid-step, staring as a poor girl in torn jeans and dirt-smudged cheeks knelt beside the show's only son. Adam Stratton, age 10, had lived in silence since he was 2. Every soundless year had been bought with another fortune spent on doctors, surgeries, and experimental therapies that never worked. His father, Michael Stratton, the man who built the billion-dollar company towering over them, believed that money could fix anything. Until now. The girl's name was Lily. She sold wooden charms and wilted daisies by the street, often chased off by security. Today, she'd slipped through the open gate, clutching her small tray to her chest. She had seen Adam sitting alone on a marble bench, staring at the fountain like it was speaking a language he couldn't hear. When she tried to say hello, he surprised her, answering in sign. You know this? His fingers asked. A little, she signed back clumsily. My brother couldn't speak. He smiled for the first time that day. Then his face twisted. He pressed his ear and grimaced. Hurts? Lily asked softly. No, he signed. Itches. Always itches. Her brows furrowed. Let me see. Before he could protest, she leaned in, studying his ear under the sunlight. Her pupils widened. There's something there. Doctors checked, he said, shaking his head. They didn't see, she murmured. Then, taking a deep breath, she reached inside. Adam flinched, then froze. Her fingertips brushed something alive, and a shiver ran through him. With one quick motion, she pulled it free. It writhed in her palm, a dark, shriveled insect, still twitching. Then the world broke open. A horn blared beyond the gate. Adam jerked, eyes wide. What? He gasped, his own voice scraping the air like rusted metal. Lily's hands flew to her mouth. You heard that? Adam's chest rose and fell. He touched his throat, then his ears. I heard, his words cracked. I heard. The courtyard erupted in commotion. A door slammed open. What the hell is this? Michael Stratton's voice thundered as he stormed toward them, phone in one hand, fury in his eyes. Get away from my son. He yanked Adam to his side. Security guards ran across the marble. Dad, no. Adam cried out. The sound, rough, human, real, froze Michael in his tracks. His phone slipped from his hand and clattered to the stone. Adam, he whispered. You spoke. Lily stood her ground, her dirt-streaked face lit with defiance. There was something inside his ear. You never looked close enough. She held up the tiny corpse between her fingers. You kept paying people to scan what they didn't want to find. You're lying, Michael barked, though his voice trembled. But the evidence wriggled faintly, still clinging to life. Dad? Adam reached for him, tears streaking down his face. I heard you. Michael staggered backward, his heart hammering. 10 years of silence. 10 years of believing his son was broken, collapsed in a heartbeat. Around them, employees whispered, their polished shoes splashing through the fountain's mist. Lily looked at the boy with a soft, proud smile. You don't need money to see what's real, she said. Adam turned toward her, trembling, his lips forming the words carefully. Thank you. And for the first time since he was 2 years old, the sound of his own voice filled the air. Michael dropped to his knees, clutching his son as if he might vanish. The empire behind him, the wealth, the pride, the power, meant nothing now. Because the barefoot girl the world ignored had just given his child something no fortune ever could. Don't leave me, Adam whispered, his voice trembling like a fragile note newly born. Michael Stratton froze. The boy had spoken again, soft, unsure, but real. He swallowed the ache in his throat and pressed a shaking hand over his son's. I'm here, buddy. I'm not going anywhere. The Blacktown car tore through the city, headlights slicing the darkness. In the back seat, Adam clung to his father, trembling against the leather. Across from them, Lily Carter sat quietly, her dirt-streaked hands still stiff with dried blood from pulling that thing out of his ear. She looked out the window, her reflection flickering in the glass like a ghost no one ever noticed. When they reached St. Helena Medical Center, the emergency doors burst open. Audiology now. Michael barked. Nurses swarmed around them, wheeling Adam away under a wash of white lights and mechanical beeping. Hours blurred. Machines hummed, screens flashed, and the smell of antiseptic filled the air. Adam sat on the bed, his eyes wide as he tried to understand the new world of sound. Each tick of the clock, the hiss of air conditioning, the sound of his father's breathing. "Dad," he said quietly. Michael's heart cracked. He crouched beside the bed, his tie hanging loose. "Yes, son." Adam smiled faintly. "You sound different than I imagined." Michael laughed through tears. "You do too." When the chief specialist finally entered, his white coat gleamed under the harsh light. "Mr. Stratton," he said smoothly, "your son's recovery is remarkable. We detected the remains of an organic blockage in his ear canal. It appears to have restricted his hearing for years. With its removal, he's experiencing temporary restoration." Temporary. Michael's hands hit the desk. "You're telling me a girl from the street fixed what you couldn't in 8 years?" The doctor adjusted his glasses. "We followed every medical protocol available." "Protocol?" Michael's voice cut through the room. "You charge me millions for machines, therapies, specialists. You told me he was hopeless." Lily stepped forward, her voice fierce. "You didn't look. You didn't want to. You saw a famous name and a blank check, not a child." The doctor's smile faltered. "Miss, this is a private." "Then let's talk privately," Michael snapped. "Show me his file." The doctor hesitated, then slid a folder across the table. Michael opened it, and his world tilted. Reports upon reports, each stamped with confirmed neurological loss. But the final page stopped him cold. Internal memo. Stratton account approved for long-term therapy extension. Maintain diagnosis to ensure continuous funding. Michael's knuckles whitened around the paper. "You kept him sick." "Sir, it's not that simple." "It's exactly that." His voice thundered through the sterile room. "You turned my son into a paycheck." He ripped the folder apart, papers scattering across the floor like snow. "Get out," he growled. "All of you." Security rushed forward, but one look from him sent them retreating. The doctor slipped out silently, leaving only the hum of machines behind. Michael sat down beside Adam again, his voice raw. "I'm so sorry, kiddo. I let them fool me. I thought I was helping." Adam's small hand found his father's sleeve. "Not your fault," he said softly. Michael shook his head. "It is. I trusted people who see numbers, not lives." From the doorway, Lily spoke quietly. "Now you know what it's like when money makes people deaf." He looked at her, barefoot, fierce, exhausted beyond her years. "You talk like you've seen too much for a kid." She shrugged. "On the streets, you hear everything the world ignores." Later that night, the three of them stood under the glow of hospital lights. The city hummed around them. Ambulances, cars, the wind cutting through skyscrapers. Michael's suit was wrinkled, his hands still shaking. "They'll pay for this," he muttered. "You can't buy justice, Mr. Stratton," Lily said quietly. "You have to earn it. Fight for it." He studied her for a long moment. "Why did you help him?" She looked up, eyes glistening. "Because no one helped my brother. He went deaf from an infection. The clinic turned us away when we couldn't pay." Michael's chest tightened. "Then help me make this right," he said. "Not with money," she replied. "With truth." He nodded slowly. "Where do I start?" "By listening," she said simply, nodding toward Adam. The boy was standing under the streetlight, staring up at the night sky, his face glowing with wonder. "Hey," Michael whispered, approaching softly. "What do you hear?" Adam's lips curved into a fragile smile. "Everything." Michael knelt beside him, pulling him close. "Then you'll never have to hear silence again." Lily smiled faintly and stepped back into the night. Her silhouette dissolved into the shadows, the sound of her footsteps fading into the city's pulse. Michael watched her go, feeling something in him shift. For all his brilliance and power, it had taken a barefoot girl to give his son the one thing money could never buy: sound. He looked back at the glowing hospital sign and clenched his fists. "They silenced you for profit," he whispered. "I'll make sure no one ever does again." And for the first time, his voice didn't sound like a CEO's. It sounded like a father's. Should Michael fight back against the system that sold his son's silence, or forgive and rebuild what was lost? Comment your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true-to-life stories that remind us what really matters.